This is the Poker Team. I'm Zypher, and today we are bringing you yet another video concerning Shazam. And today we're thinking of doing a spoiler review, but then we thought better of it and decided to give you our top 8 things we loved about the Shazam movie. This way, this is something you could look onto if you're considering whether you want to watch the movie or not. Like, this could motivate you to watch it. Without further ado, let's get started with number 1. Before I begin with the first one, I have to state this spoiler warning. This video is going to contain a lot of spoilers for the movie. If you don't mind, continue. If you do mind, then you might want to exit here. Now, the first one is the reveal of the Shazam family. Now, this was actually something that we've seen teasers for it. They did upload a picture showing the whole Shazam family. We have seen the cast for the adult version of all the orphan kids, but it was still something unexpected. We thought that we'll see it as an end credit scene, or that was just, just a hint at something further, like down the line of movies they had lined up for Shazam. But surprisingly, they were actually very integral to the final fight. He brought the Shazam family the same way he was created as Shazam, and everyone had their comic accurate powers and costume, and that was something very fun to see. It was very entertaining, and once again they were very accurate, comic accurate, so it was actually very entertaining to see. Coming up second, we have the Superman teaser that was at the end of the movie. Now, prior to the movie coming out, we had heard a lot of conversation about whether Superman will appear in the movie or not. Well, he did, but then it wasn't a big role, and I guess with the whole Henry Cavill has stepped down and they haven't found a replacement for Superman thingy going on, they couldn't show his face. But then they did show Superman, and it was actually an awesome scene. First of all, there was nothing serious about it. It was like most of Shazam, just a joke, in that Shazam came to show the school that he was friends with Freddy, and he was like, you know what, I have a friend, I brought him over, and Superman steps in holding a lunch plate, if I remember correctly. It was a fun scene, it was awesome, and it got all of us psyched in the cinema, and it was just awesome. At number 3, we have the 7 deadly sins, Nanatsu no Taizai. Now, this was a bit iffy because this is just our own personal preference. I'm sure there might be a couple of people out there who didn't like their depiction or anything, but we actually loved the depiction of the 7 deadly sins. Now, they didn't really show much about their personalities, in that, the 7 deadly sins follow the likes of wrath, sloth, greed, and the likes. They didn't really show them, like, the sin of wrath now wasn't really all that angry. Like, they didn't depict it, they didn't follow it all. Lust wasn't hot, as Shazam stated. They didn't follow it true and true, but it was still fun to see. There were these gargoyle-looking creatures, each with their distinct features, and some that were more important, like the likes of greed. They actually showed, like, there were scenes where we were like, oh, that's greed, because we could see his greediness in that he wanted power and things like that. So for the most part, they actually did quite well with the characters. But then, like, their comic translations, because in comics they actually look like that, of the direction they decided to go with for the movie, and it was actually quite fun to see. At number 4, we have probably everyone's favorite character, Freddy. Now, the fun thing about Freddy is that he's a nerd, so he appeals to almost all of us that went to the cinema to watch the movie, us being nerds, obviously. So he was actually a fun character, true and true. But then the one thing we're taking out of his character to state is that he was a walking Easter eggs. He had the Superman bag, he had the variety of Justice League shirts, a Wonder Woman shirt, Aquaman shirt, and he kept on stating all these past events and things like that in the DCU. He was a walking Easter egg. He kept on spitting Easter eggs, dressing up as Easter eggs and things like that. Like, he was just surrounded by Easter eggs. It was fun watching him trying to find out the next thing he'll say that connected to the DC universe, the next thing he'll wear that connected to the DC universe, things like that. It was actually quite fun. You know what, here's a challenge. When you watch the movie, try and find everything that he wore specifically that was connected to a DC character. It will be harder than you think. He was just an awesome character, all true and true, and he was literally a walking Easter egg, and it was fun following his character throughout the movie. And now we have one of the things that people were uncertain about coming into the movie, Zachary Levi's performance as Shazam. People didn't think he was buff enough. People didn't think he could act childish enough. People just had a lot of doubts about him, but he cleared all our doubts when we watched him as Shazam. He really embodied the role. As someone who has read a lot of Shazam comics, I really saw him portraying the character as well as he could. He was quite fun. He acted quite childish. He did a lot. There were little things that you normally normally wouldn't notice that he actually put into the character to indicate that this was a child in a grown man's body. He actually did pretty well. His character as Shazam and that as Billy Batson wasn't really all that different. So he actually did a very great job acting as Shazam. Now at number 6, we have the realisticness of the movie as a whole. There were certain scenes that pointed out things that we normally would just, shake our heads at in movies, like having two villains in the air talking from a far distance and they can all hear each other. Things like this happened in Man of Steel. Something like that was about to happen in Shazam, and then they pointed out, at least Shazam, the character himself, pointed out the fact that I can't hear you. We're over a great distance, we're in the air, the cars are moving and things like that. I can't hear your whole bad guy speech. These little things were actually quite, fun for us. Like, yeah, they are pointing out obvious mistakes like this. And it was actually quite fun. There were other instances of that. I won't state them because, what will be the point of watching the movie if I state everything here? But just know that there were a lot of scenes like that when things that will normally just, it's a movie, let's just ignore it. They actually pointed it out and like, nah, we're not going this route. Although we know other people make this mistake. And it was actually quite fun to see and enjoy. The 7th one is the test run of his powers. Now, from the trailer, this was already something they showed in the trailer where they had the test run, but it was actually more interesting in the movie. Like, there were more variety of tests and the effects, like the mistakes they made, the way his powers didn't work the way he wanted to, and some of the fake tests that Freddy threw in there. Like, there was a time where they were testing for teleportation, and then he revealed that there was actually a secret test for fire to see if Shazam was immune to fire, and he messed with Shazam there, where Shazam was expecting a test that would test whether he can teleport or not, and it ended up on fire because Freddy was trying something else. And where Freddy tested his intelligence with yet another power, there were just a lot of varieties there when he was testing his power. They tested for way more than they actually accounted for in the trailer. They tested for teleportation, fire immunity, intelligence. There were just so many things they tested for, and the whole montage of them testing, and it happened over a period of time. It's not like they started the montage and then in 2 minutes they finished the whole montage of testing. They started it, then some other things happened, they had to go home, then they came the next day to continue their test. Like, it was just very realistic. Like, it's obvious, like, they won't have time to test out all the powers at a stretch. They are still kids, they have to get home, they have to go to school and things like that. So it happened over a period of time, and that was also another thing that was realistic about it. But the general testing of the powers, because if I'm a kid, or as a kid as I am, if I got powers right now, I wouldn't just jump to conclusions as to what I have. I actually want to test them out. And as a nerd, it makes sense that Freddy thought of that and Shazam actually went along with that. Like, it actually makes sense. Final thing we have listed here is the closing credits. Now, this might sound a little bit weird, but there are always these 4 sets of credits before the main credits. Now, these 4 sets of credits are the ones that probably have the animations related to the movie and then the cool music and all that before the end credits, or the first end credits, and then the serious credits rolls in where we have the black background and we have it scrolling up. Now, we're referring to the first set of credits in this video. Now, the whole idea behind this one was we had the Shazam family, which had been shown in the final fight. They were a big part of the final fight, and then we had the conclusion, and then they showed the Shazam family all interacting with their Justice League counterpart, for example, and besting them in whatever they were doing. For example, we had Dollar with Flash, where they were running together, and then Dollar just dusts Flash, like she leaves him in the dust, and he's all there with that look on his eye like, well, how I'm meant to be the fastest. And although this was all animated, by the way, they didn't get the actors of the actual movie to come and portray this was all animated. That was actually fun to see. Then we had Billy outpower Superman in an arm wrestle, where Superman also had that same look of despair, like, how is he stronger than me? And they did this for most of the members of the Shazam family, in that, because like with the Shazam family, they all have one specific aspect of Shazam where they specify, like Dollar had the speed, and Shazam, being the embodiment of everything, had everything, while others will have probably the lightning aspect, while someone has the intelligence. And they depicted this in the final fight quite well. But the whole idea in the Shazam family has someone in Justice League that they are power kinds of mirrors. So with characters like that, they had both of them show up on the screen, do something related to the power, and had one beat the other full out. And that was actually quite fun to see. And actually, just to tag this to the end credit scene. Now, if we end up doing a spoiler-free, or rather a spoiler review for the video, we'll probably go more into details about this. But just to add this in the end for anyone who might be curious, there were 2 end credit scenes. The second was absolutely useless, like most comic book movies seem to be enjoying right now. But the first one introduced another character, Mr. Mind, who is mostly associated with the Monsters of Evil Association. Now, I won't go much into details about him because, like, if you guys want, we'll probably do a separate video where we analyze him and his relationship with Dr. Sivana and just how he is generally. But I just wanted to state it there. That was actually a fun Easter egg at the end. It actually left a lot to be explored by the Shazam universe in successful movies to come. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have watched the movie and there's anything you like that we didn't state, please state it in the comment section. Please like, share, subscribe. Wasting much more of your time. Peace out.